Good evening, guys. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do a parallax effect, or what we call the 3D camera movement. So in today's tutorial, we are going to do something like this in a form of a jungle. Okay, so before we start, we need to go to Photoshop and then put our element into one composition. Do you get it? Create the size of um, your artboard, which you'll be using in After Effects. Okay, then you bring your elements and then you put them together how you want it to be, the background, the foreground, and then the leaf, everything how you want it to be. So when you look here, you see that I've placed everything individually. I've placed everything individually into one composition. Okay, so this is how everything looks individually. So I've put them into one composition. Okay, so what you need to do is, you see, with this, you can see that we have a lot of elements, right? So we need to name all the elements, which will make it difficult, will make it easy for you to what, to identify them. Do you get it? So when you look at here, you see that I have named the bottom layer as BG, which means background, and then you see I have the logo, then everything. So you have to name it how you feel like maybe it will be easy for you to what, to identify them. Okay, because if you don't do it that way and you import it into After Effects, you will find it difficult to put them apart. Do you get it? You find it difficult to put them apart. So you need to do it like this, and after that you go to file, then you go to save as. Then you need to save it as a PSD format. I've saved mine already, so you need to give it a name and you save it into a folder where you think maybe it will be easy for you to locate it back. Okay, so with this, then you press OK, then you can save it. Okay, now let's go to After Effects. So when you come to After Effects, what you're going to see, you have the new composition and then the new composition from footage. So what you're coming to do is a new composition. So we can either click here to create a new composition, or we go to the top here and go to composition, then you go to new composition. Okay. So when you come here, you give it the dimension. Remember, the dimension that you use over here should be the same dimension you use in Photoshop. Okay, so you give it the dimension, then you set the time. Okay, for my own, I want to make it 30 seconds. Okay, 30 seconds video. So you set the dimension. Maybe if it's 1 minute, then you make it 1 minute. Okay, then you select the background color which you want. For mine, I want it to leave it at the green. Then you press OK. Okay, so now we have our new composition over here. So now what we need to do is we need to import the composition that we did in Photoshop into After Effects. Okay, so to import it, when you come to the project panel here, where the composition is located, you can double click, then you go to the folder where you've saved the work, okay, the composition that you did in Photoshop, where you've saved it. So I've saved it here, so I'll come and locate it again. Okay, so here it is. Here's my composition that I did in Photoshop. You just click on it, then what, press on import, then you import it. Okay, so when you press on import, it will come this way. So when you look at this place, we see that we have editable layers styles, and we have merge layer style into footage. So what this means is, if you select the first one, which is the editable layer styles, it will help you to, or it will prevent the layers to being one. Are you getting it? It will put the layers into different parts like the way you did it in Photoshop. But when you select maybe merge layers, it will put all the elements together as one composition. Are you getting it? So what you need to do is you have to select the editable layer styles. Then you press on what? Okay. So when you press on OK, it will open like this. Okay. So let's click on what? On our composition here. Then you come to this folder where this folder is located. Let's click on it to what? Expand it. So when you expand, you see that we have the different elements. Okay. The different elements here, which we did in what? Photoshop. So you have them here. What we need to do is you need to select all of them, highlight all of them, then you drag it to what? Our timeline. You get it? Drag and drop. So now we have um our composition here. But what when you look at this one, you see that it's a little bit messed up. Okay. So what you need to do is now we've given it names. We given a name to or we assign name to the different layers. Okay. So now when you look at this place, you see that at the topmost layer here is the background. So what I'll need to do is just click on it and drag it down. Okay. Then followed by that one is the logo. So have the logo here. And then maybe when you are confused about maybe a layer being messed up, you can use the solo um, icon here to look at the layer that you are looking for. So let's say when I click on this one, it only projects the layer which have solo. Get it, and it will hide the rest. So maybe this layer is at where I want it to be. So I will not move it anywhere again, which is at the topmost layer. Do you get it? So I will leave it there. Then let me check the other one, which is this one, which is the foreground. Okay. So I want the foreground to follow um, the background, and it should be at the top of what of our logo. Do you get it? So I need to drag it here. Okay. So now I have my background here, and then I have my logo, and then I have my foreground here. Are you getting it? So I have my background, my logo, and then my foreground, which is okay. So now what I need to do is to make the other layers to show. Okay. So now let me click on this one. Okay, it's at where I want it to be, which is okay. Then I'll click on the other one. It's at where I want it to be. Click on the other one too. You see that this one is what shifted a little bit. So what I will need to do is just select that layer and drag it to where I want it to be. Okay. So I want it to be somewhere here. And then let me scale it up a bit. So I've scaled it. Okay, so I love where it is. Alright, so let me select the other one. Okay, it's at where I want it to be. Okay. Now let me select this one. This one I want it to be beneath these two at the top here. So what I will have to do is let me select that layer and bring it down. Okay. Alright, so I want it to be at this place. Now let me turn the last one on. Okay, it's at where I want it to be. So perfect. So now we have our layers in place, or we have our layers where we want them to be. Are you getting it? So now let me unsolo all of them. Okay, so now we have this. So now what we need to do is for us to work with 3D layers. Now what we have here are what 2D layers. You get it? So we need to turn our layers into 3D. So to turn our layers into 3D, when you come to our timeline here and you look at this place, we have something we call the 3D layer, which allow us to what to manipulate in what 3D dimensions. So what we need to do is we need to apply this layer to all of our layers. Do you get it? Or we need to apply these settings to all of our layers. So what I will need to do is just click on this box, assign to what the 3D layer. Click on it, and you see that automatically the 2D layers will be turned into 3D layers. Okay, so let's turn all of them on. Okay, so perfect. So now you see that all of our layers here are now hot 3D. Okay, so now you can see this um, shape here, which means now our layers are, what, are in 3D. So any layer you select over here will have these things around it, which means it's now in 3D. But now what we need to do is, or for us to what, to see the various elements, or let's say things that we put into our compositions, we need what, two sets of what views. Okay, we have the front view, we have the top view, we have the back view. Okay, so what we need to do is, now what we have over here is what, the active camera, which is the default, right? So to have, or to change, or to, let's say, to preview our works in what, two dimensions, we need to what, come to the end here and what, let's say, select view layer. Okay, so click on it, and then you can see that we have one view, we have two views, and then four views. So we need to what, change it to what, two views. Okay, so now when you change it to two views, you see the top here is showing top, and then we have the active camera. Okay, so when you change it to four, you see we have the active camera, you have the right, you have the front, then the top. Okay, you can change these settings wherever you want it. But what I need is, I just need the front and then the top view. Okay, let me just change it to two. Okay, so now we have this. So now what we need to do is to add our camera. Okay, so to add a camera, we have different way of what, adding the camera to our layers. Okay, so first what we can do is, we can drop this one up small, and then click on this negative space here. Right click on it, then come to new, and what, come to what, camera. Okay, so you can do it this way and select your camera, or you can also go to the layer here, then come to new, then come to what, camera, to select your camera. So when we come to the camera here, we have some settings which you need to do. We have different type of camera. Okay, so we have the 15 millimeters camera, we have the 20 millimeters camera, up to 200 millimeters camera. Okay, so what the one that we'll be working with is the what, the 15 millimeter. Let's select it, and then make sure this box here is what, thick. Let's turn it to what, let's enable depth of field. Okay, when you have to click on it to enable depth of field, and after that just press OK. All right, so now we have our camera here. The camera is already what, turned into what, 3D. So you could see some arrow at the top here, which means it's in 3D. But what I normally do is, to my camera, I don't like using the transformation directly, the transform properties directly on the camera. So what I normally do is, I'll add a null object. Okay, so to add a null object, you need to go to the layer, come to new, then select the null object. Okay, so the null object, what we need to do is, we need to what, parent the camera to what, our null object. What this means is that it will make you to use the camera as if, let's say, you are working on the null object, but it's giving the what, the ability to what, to work with the camera. Are you getting it? Because you've parent it, so anything that you do to the null object will affect our camera. So now we are going to use the null object as our camera. You get it? Okay, so now if you look at the top view here, you see that all these elements which we put into what, our design, they are all hot at one place. Okay, so if it's at one place like this, we cannot, the camera cannot view them to be what, separate. Okay, so what we need to do is, we need to put them apart. All right, we need to put them apart for it to what, to give us that different layers which the camera can move through. So let's assume this is a forest, right? So as a photographer, you want to view this forest to where your logo is located. You know, you have the branches which you can move through. Are you getting it? So it's the same thing over here. So we need to what, have our branches, we need to have our foreground to our background, and to our logo. Are you getting it? So to do this, we need to select the layers one by one and put them what far away from each other. So now we've selected what the background layer. So we select the background layer. You see that we have some handles on the layer. Okay, because it's in a 3D, we have the x and the y axis, which we do in what mathematics. Okay, so we to do this, you see, we have the z axis. The z axis, what you do is it will push the things far away. So when you select the x axis, it will move the layer on what on the x axis. You get it? When you select the z axis, it will help you to what to move the thing far away. Are you getting it? So let's select the z axis, which is what the blue handle here. So when you select it, you can drag it back. Okay, so let's drag it back far away from the camera. So you see that the moment you are dragging it, it's looking small. Okay, so you see the moment you drag it far away, it's looking small. So what we need to do is, after dragging it back, we need to what? Scale it back for it to look big. Okay, so to scale it back, we need to press S on the keyboard to have the scale properties here. You just have to what? Hold it and what? Drag your mouse to scale it back to its position. Okay, scaling it back doesn't mean it will still come back to the camera. No, it's still far away. Are you getting it? It's still far away, but just that now it's let's say we are working in what perspective. If an object is far away from the focus point, you see that it will look very small. But for it to what maintain its let's say height or its weight again, it needs what to be bigger. Are you getting it? So what we are doing is it's still far away, but what we need to do is we need to what scale it back to what to take its form again. Are you getting it? So now we are done with the background. So let's select our logo, select the logo and drag the logo to back. Okay. So you see that the moment we are dragging it back, it's looking small. Are you getting it? It's looking small. So what you need to do is let's scale it back. Let's scale it a bit. Okay. So it's looking perfect. So now what we need to do again is let's select our foreground. Let's select our foreground, which is this one. Let's select it and what push it back. Select it and push it back. Okay. So you see what the moment you push it back, it's looking small. Okay. So let's slow it and see how it's looking. You see that it's looking small. So you need to what select that layer, press the S on the keyboard to scale it back to its position. Alright, so now let's turn the ones we've done so far and see how it's looking. Alright, it's perfect. So what we need to do is select the other ones and do the same thing to them. Okay, so let's select this one and push it back. You see the moment you are pushing it back, it's looking small. Okay, now let's solo it and see what we are doing. Alright, so we have this. So what we need to do is it's supposed to what to be at the edge here. Do you get it? So now we need to what move it in what in x direction. Yeah, so we need to select this red handle here. You need to select the red handle here and push it to the x direction, and then the yellow handle here, which is the y direction, and push it up. Alright, and it's also looking small, so you need to press S on the keyboard to scale it back to its position. So you just have to play around it to see that it's fit what you want to do. Okay, so you play around it, then make sure it's at what at its position. Okay, all right, so I love where it is. So now let's select the other layers. Let's select this one too and push it back. Okay, and push it back. Let's solo it and see how it's looking. All right, so this one we need to do the same thing to it. Push it back here and push it in what, in the Y direction. Then now we need to scale it. So let's press the S and scale it up a bit. Okay, so then move it down small. Move it here too. All right, so we are done with that one too. Now let's select the other ones too. Okay, so let's select the other layers, which is this one too. Let's move it back. Let's move it back. Okay, I love where it is. So what we need to do is let's solo it. Um, let's solo it and then let's solo it and what, scale it back. So let's press S on the keyboard, then scale it back. All right, it's okay. Then we need to select the other layers too and move them back. Okay, so let's move it back. Let's move it back. All right, I love where it is. Let's solo it and see the way it's looking. And let's move it to this direction. Okay, this one is looking small, so let's press S on the keyboard to scale it back. Okay, and scale it back. All right, perfect. Now let's select the other ones too, which is this one, and move it back. Okay, let's move this one back a bit. Let's move it back a bit. Let's solo it and see how it's looking. All right, so you need to move it to this direction. Then let's scale it back a bit. Okay, let's scale it back. All right, it's okay. Then let's select the other layers too, which is this one. Let's solo it and see how it's looking. It's very small, so let's press the S on the keyboard, then move it to this direction, move it up, and then let's scale it a bit. All right, perfect. So now let's select the final layer, which is the front layer, and then move it away from what, the camera a bit, and then let's press S on the keyboard, and then what, scale it back. Okay, let's scale it back. Okay, so now we have all our layers placed as where you want to place it. So for us to know that what we did is okay, we have some tools which we use for what, the camera. We have the what, the orbit around cursor tool. We have what, the pan under cursor tool, and then we have the dolly tool. Okay, so let's select the orbit, and then let's try to turn these our layers and see how they are looking. You see, so now you see that they are being placed what, separately. Are you getting it? They are being placed separately. You see that they are separate. Are you getting it? So now see how our layers are looking. They are hot, separate. They are being separated from what, each other. Okay. So now we have this. So what we need to do now is start with what, with our animation. All right. So what we need to do is first, before you use the now object, make sure you what, parent the camera layer to the null object. Okay, so that it can give us the flexibility, or as we are using the null object, it will be like it's the camera that we are using. Are you getting it? Because we've parent it. So what we are doing to the null object will be happening to what, our camera. You get it? So now let's press this drop down here to turn on our camera. Okay, so at the camera settings, you see these two. We have the transform and the what, the camera options. All right, so what you can use the now object to do, you can still use what, the camera to do it, which we can maybe use it here. But for us not to be what confused, I would like us to what use the now object for what the movement. So the only things we are going to use over here is what the camera option. So let's turn it on. And then over here, make sure your depth of field is what is on. What's the depth of field that is that when you turn it on, it will make the hot element close to the camera to be hot to be in focus, whilst the rest behind it what to look blur. Are you getting it? Then the focus distance to is just the same thing as what as the depth of field. And then we need to what increase our blur level. If you want to turn it on, it will be hot 100%. You need to, what, to turn it on. It's what the blur level does is it make the um the elements which are not in focus or to look blur. Are you getting it? As I'm reducing it, you see that our picture here is what looking very sharp. So you need to what increase it for it what to look blur. So increase it to the point which you feel like it's making your composition, or which is making the element um far away from the camera to what to look blur. Okay, so we have this here. Okay, I think this one is okay for me. So what I will need to do is I need to what add a keyframe to my depth of field, my focus distance, and what my aperture. Okay, so let me increase the aperture to a bit. Okay, and then let me add a keyframe to my depth of field, my focus distance, and my aperture. All right, so now let's go to our null object. So with the null object, let's open the transform properties. So when we select our null object, you see that it's showing here. And then this null object here is not on its own. You see the moment we move it, it's moving with the camera, because we've parent it to what to the camera. Are you getting it? So now let's start with our movement. Okay, let's start with our movement. So what we are going to use here is what the position. But before you use the null object, make sure it's also turned what to 3D layer. Okay, so it's turned what to 3D layer. So we'll turn it on here, and then what you are coming to do is you see on the position panel. First, if it's 2D layer, it's looking like we have only two um, values here. We have the X and the Y value. But when you turn it to 3D layer, we have three now, which the third one is what? The Z axis. Are you getting it? The third one is the Z axis. Okay, so let's move our cameras close a bit. Okay, so now we can start with our animation. So first, let's add a keyframe from the beginning. Let's add a keyframe here. Okay, so as we add the keyframe, let's move our current time indicator forward to 5 seconds, and then move this handle here, which is the Z axis. We are moving this one. You can move it here, or you can hold the handle here and move it. So I prefer we move it here. So let's move it. Let's move it. So as we are moving it, we are leaving the first layer, which we are now focusing on on the second layer. Okay, so we are now focusing on on our second layer, which is the one here, this layer here. Let me turn the solo this thing on. So you see that now we are focusing on this layer. So when you look from here, you could see that this image here is looking very sharp than the other ones. Are you getting it? So now let's move it forward a bit again. Let's move it forward a bit again. All right, perfect. But it seems as we are moving it, this layer here, which the camera is focusing on, is moving out of the frame. Are you getting it? So I would like us to add some kind of flexibility to our camera, which maybe we can turn it in a Y rotation, X and X rotation, or the Z rotation. So let's add the X and the Y rotation let's add the Y rotation to it. Okay, so let's come here, add a keyframe to the Y rotation, and then move our indicator forward to 5 seconds as well. And then let's turn the what the rotation here. You see, as I'm turning it, you see the way it's turning. Okay, so it will add that kind of what flexibility to it. Okay, so now I have it like this. Now I have it like this. I can move this one a bit. I can move this one a bit. Okay, just to make sure it's okay. So you can move this one a bit. Then you see the way it's looking. Okay, so now let's move our current time indicator forward, which is the CTI forward, and what move our camera forward. Okay, let's move our camera forward on the what and the Z axis. Okay, so now I'm moving it. Okay, I'm moving it. Okay, so as I'm moving it, let me turn the angle of what my Y rotation. So let me turn it here so that it can focus on the layer which I want it to what to focus on. So I think it's okay. Let me move the X and then the Y on the what the position to bring it what to focus. Okay, so I think this one is too much, so I can reduce it. I can reduce it a bit. I can reduce it a bit. Okay, so now let me move this one forward a bit to 15 seconds, and then move my Z axis on the position to focus on this layer. So now I need to what turn my camera again. I need to what turn my camera on the what the Y axis. Let me set it back to 0 so it can be in a straight line. Okay, so let me move the camera forward. Let me turn it. Okay, so let me move this angle small. Move it and make sure it's okay. All right. Okay, let's move it a bit. Okay, let's move it a bit. Now let's move the Z direction again. Okay, so now we have this. Now let's move it forward to the other layer, which is here. Okay, so now what we need to do, so let's move our time indicator forward a bit, and then now um let's move our Z axis forward to the other layer, which is here. Okay, so after moving it, let's turn what our Y rotation so it can focus on the layer which we want it to focus on. Then let's move this one. Let's move it forward. Okay, let's rotate it and see that it's okay. If it's okay, then Okay, I think this is okay. Let's move it forward a bit. Okay, now let's move this forward again to the next layer. Okay, all right. So now let's rotate this and back to its normal position. All right. So just be moving the camera to see that it's okay. Then when it's okay, then you can stop there. So let's move it. Let's move it a bit. All right. So now let's move our camera forward a bit. And let's move it down. Oh, let's move this one down small. Okay. So now let's move our time indicator forward just here. And then let's rotate it back to 0. Okay. And now let's move our camera forward. Let's move our camera forward. Rotate it a bit. You just have to be rotating the camera so that it look okay. Now let's move it forward to the next layer, which is here. Okay. Now let's move it to this place. After everything, you can reset um your keyframes. So let's move our camera forward to this one. Let's move our camera forward. Yeah. Okay. So now let's move it forward to the last one. Sorry. So let's over here. Let's set it to what? 0. Then let's move it forward and move it to our last layer, which is the logo. Okay. So let's move it. Let's move it down a bit. Okay. So now what we need to do is let's reset these keyframes. Let's move these keyframes back small. Let's move this keyframe back. Alright. So after everything, what we need to do is we need to reset all these layers back to what their original position. Before we do that, let's go to our logo layer, this one. Let's select it and then animate this one differently. So to animate this, first we know that the keyframe starts from here. Okay, so let's turn on this and then add P, which is the position, and then add a keyframe. Let's move over time here. Then we add a keyframe. Okay, let's add a keyframe and then move back here. Then what? Let's move it down let's move it down here. So before our camera gets there, it will pop from under to come and set at the top there. Okay. So now what we need to do is after everything, we need to reset our keyframes back to their normal position. So to do that, just on the depth of field, right click and then press on reset. Then on the focus distance, right click, reset it back. On the aperture, right click and reset it back. Now let's go to our position here to right click, reset, and then the y axis to right click, then reset. Okay, so after resetting our camera, now let's bring our keyframes closer a bit. Let's bring our keyframe closer. Let's reset every keyframe. Okay, let's bring closer, bring it closer. Let's bring it closer. Then let's go to this place too and bring all these keyframes. Let's bring all these keyframes together. Okay, so now let's select all these keyframes here. Select all the keyframes, right click, and then add easy ease. So now go to the graph editor. Then make sure your graph is um it's a speed graph. Make sure the speed graph is selected, not the value graph. And then let's highlight everything here. Let's highlight everything and edit our graph like this. Okay. So now let's bring the logo animation to closer. Then bring it closer here. And then bring it here. Okay. Let's put it somewhere here. Okay. What we need to do is let's add the sound. Let's add the sound and then our bed. Okay, so here's the sound. Let's add the sound to our composition. Yeah, so let's bring the sound down here. Okay. So let's add the sound. Then how it will look like. Okay. It's okay. It's looking perfect. So now what we need to do is let's add our bed to it. add our bed to it. So go to the folder where you save the bed. Let's add our bed layer to it. I think it's, let's go to, it's over here. Okay, so select it. Okay, so it's here. Then drag it to our composition here. Okay, so now we have the beds here. So now when you hover over it, you see that the birds are playing. So now the birds are on a gray background. So to remove the gray background, let's go to our preset then, effect and preset, and search for what, key light. Okay, so select the key light and drag it onto this layer, on the bed layer. Okay, so dragging it, then you come to the effect control panel here, which is the at where the project panels normally be. Then select the eyedropper tool here. Now just pick the green. Okay, so the moment you pick it, you see that automatically it will go. So now we have the birds. Okay, so now where I want the bird to show is, it should show at where the logo is what revealing. You get it? So it should show from somewhere here, okay, to here. And then I want it what to go below other layers to where the logo is located. So this is the logo, so I want it to be at the top of the logo. Okay, now let's press S to scale it so that it will be big. Okay, so now we have this. Now let's preview it and see how it will look like. Okay, alright, so now we are done. So this is the end. So you just have to go to export. Okay, let's preview it again. Alright, so what you need to do next is come to the file, then come to export, then add it to what media encoder to render your work. Thank you all.